All right, everyone. Well, welcome to Career Tip Tuesday.
Hello, everyone.
Today, we are going to talk about debunking some myths of the two-page resume. I just got into a situation where I needed to update my resume to apply for a program that I wanted to be in. And since the beginning of time, had always had a one-page resume. And I was always under the impression that the two-page resume is a no-no. However, uh, as I was struggling, honestly, to get the most valuable pieces of information in my one-page resume, I was like, there's got to be some other way. So I started doing some research, and I found out about this modern resume, right? And I know that sounds really like, oh, Makita, come on, you're a millennial, but still, okay. I'm right in the middle, so give me some grace, y'all. Give me some grace. But this two-page resume, right? So let's talk about it for a little bit. So I'm almost at 10 years, corporate professional experience. And that's kind of where we start to get into this two-page resume. So first, it is okay. You can use a two-page resume. And if you are going to use a two-page resume, you've got to fill it up with really, really good content. So that's myth number one. It's okay. And if you're there, you have a lot of good experience. You've had a lot of projects, a lot of certifications and skills underneath your belt. Use it.
Yeah, I would say that I think another myth around the two-page resume, and I have a perspective of being someone who worked in the talent acquisition space and who's hired hundreds of people over the course of my 20 something years in HR, that um, a long resume, there's a myth about it's a no-no. It's only a no-no because you have a lot of talent acquisition professionals who have, you know, a ton of candidates in one job opening, and they have to review all of those resumes. So it can become time consuming. And I think too, it goes back to what Makita said. If you're going to have a two-page resume, you need to make sure the skill sets and what you are trying to showcase are relevant to the role that you are applying for. You don't have to show that you have this tenure, you've been somewhere for 20 years, and that you want to show everything you've done in that time frame for that company, because those skill sets may not be relevant to what you're applying for. So there you can find creative ways to minimize that. But I think a two-page resume, again, to speak to what Makita is saying, I think it's great to have a two-page resume because now you're showing the depth of the work, your work history, what you've accomplished, the skill sets you've been able to obtain, and all of those things. And it kind of, you should be able to use that and give a really broad picture of what you've been able to accomplish in the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I feel about that. Hi, Carla.
Hey, Carla. How's it going? I hope you're having a good time over there across the pond.
Yes, in Dubai without us.
Right. So, um, another thing I found a two-page resume is really good for is to showcase the breadth of your experience, kind of like what Sherry said, because I have always been, my title has always been one thing, right? But we know we take on different projects and we have this skill set and that skill set, be it for some work that we may do on a board, be it for, a stretch project or et cetera. And those sort of things you want to showcase on your resume. You want to showcase as many different skill sets as possible because sometimes the work that we were hired for and those skill sets, it's not what you may need for the next job, the next role, the next position that
Mhm.
you're looking for. So you need to be able to expand and really touch on all of the different things that next looks like for you.
Right.
Uh-oh. I think we lost Sherry. I'm not sure what she was going to say. Oh no. So maybe she'll come back in a second. There we go.
It just booted me out. I'm like, okay, that's okay. I said, well, thank goodness you're still in here. Thank goodness. Another myth that I want to actually bust is about applicant tracking systems, which you hear people talk about, which are ATS, right? Applicant tracking systems are not designed to kick out resumes or having a ton of these keywords in your resume, thinking that's going to put you to the top of the list of being able to have your resume seen. That is not how an applicant tracking system works. An applicant tracking system's purpose is several things. One, it's a way for employers to know how many people have applied for the job. It's a great way for them to track and see, to get the EEO data. And it's also a great way for them to start to actually take people through the interview process and being able to track that. They are able to obtain metrics and data they're responsible for achieving by having an applicant tracking system. It makes their reporting easier to say, we had this job and we were able to we attracted this many candidates for the position, and then we were able to interview this many out of the people who applied, or or we hired this person out of this many interviews. So it's the applicant tracking system is not about, oh, I got to have all these keywords or it's going to kick me out and my resume will not be seen. No, that's not how it works. Now, I will say, when a job is posted, typically within that first 100 resumes, though, more than likely those will be seen. They're able to go through those, and sometimes 50, sometimes 75, depending on the type of role it is. They will pick their top 3 or 4 and move them through the process. They will come back to the candidate pool they have not looked at if those do not make it through the process, right? So when a job posts, it's best to apply as soon as possible, because more than likely, the more people that start applying, they're going to go through that group of candidates, and then they'll kind of pause the rest until they get through the initial pool.
Yeah, so turn on those LinkedIn alerts, turn on those Indeed alerts, turn on the Google Jobs alerts, like Sherry said. It's going to be that top 50 to top 100, or I'm sorry, that first 50 to that first 100 that folks are going to look at. So you want to make sure you apply as soon as possible.
All right, here's a quick sourcing tip I want to share with you guys. All right. And what I mean by sourcing is that a lot of talent acquisition teams will take time they will source and go through LinkedIn. They'll source resumes through Indeed and things like that. Now, if you see that this job has been posted and you're like, oh, it's been posted for a week, they probably have enough candidates. They may have enough candidates, but you might have something that really could have them pay attention to your resume. Find out who you know at that organization. And if you know someone that works there, you reach out to them and say, hey, I just saw you have this position open. I'm interested. Do you know who the recruiter is? Do you know who the hiring manager is? And can you pass my resume on directly to them? What that does is, now you'll still need to apply for the job, because a lot of recruiters are going to say, okay, that's great. Thank you for sending me this person's resume. Did they apply? And the reason why you need to apply is because you need to be in that pool so they can start that process with you if they're interested in moving you forward. So you always apply for the job, regardless of who you know or not. But you should always be looking to see, who do you know, who can connect you, who can help you to get your resume in front of the person that can take it to the next step. So that's just a back end way of being able to network, which we should be doing anyway. And even if you don't know someone, or you may know you may say Makita and I are, we know each other, but then you don't really know me, but you know Makita. You're like, Makita, Sherry works at ABC Company. Can you pass this on to her? Because I know you know her, and I'm really interested in that role. It's okay for you to do that as well. It's about creatively sourcing your resume out there to people that you know you can get it in front of the right person. I've done this before and completely forgot about the job. 3 weeks later, I got a call from the hiring manager who said that the person you sent the resume to, who works here, who actually I didn't know, but just got the name from someone who did used to work there. They passed it on, and I ended up getting the job. So again, you have to work your network, work it. Even though
Mhm.
you may not know the person, there's some familiarity there with someone else. You could be one person in between someone else that can make that they can change the course of how you're being considered for the role.
Yep. 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 Another myth, and kind of no that I thought, you never have is this whole thing of the objective. And I've never had it on my resume. I still don't think an objective is, um, necessary. However, what I did learn through my research is that a summary, a career summary, a about me is okay for a two-page resume, and it helps to kind of fill up, some space, but it should be very short, concise. It paints a picture of you, your history, your highlighting your achievements, things like that. So I found that that was okay, especially now for a modern resume.
So what Makita is talking about is something I consider to be called a personal branding statement, which is a summary or objective that you can put at the top of your resume, which kind of gives the recruiter an overall summary of what you do and what you're looking for, and what type of role you're looking for. It kind of gives them a quick snippet of, okay, 10 years in the business, she's got this experience. All right, she's done that. Okay, and now they can look even further to see if there's anything of interest in those roles, that could be spark their interest to want to give you a call. Now, we do have a template to help you to craft your personal branding statement.
Mhm.
And you can find that in the app under our digital downloads. And it's something you can create for your LinkedIn page. You can put it on your resume. Where else can you put it, Makita? LinkedIn, resume.
Um,
You could probably even use it just for if you're in an interview and they ask, tell me about who you are. And
yeah,
you can just kind of use that same personal branding statement as your overall summary.
yes, you can. You can use it a lot of different ways.
Yeah. So something to think about. So if you have not crafted an objective, or what you probably want to call it, personal branding statement on your resume, I think it's good. It shouldn't be no longer than a paragraph
Yeah,
or a couple of sentences, no more than 3 or 4 sentences tops, or maybe three.
yeah,
But the template that we have in the digital downloads can help you to craft that message
yep,
very well. I'm almost verbatim if you just kind of practice that out.
yep,
But that's a
yep.
good one to bring up. That was a good one to bring up, Makita.
Yeah, I have,
Good.
again, I've always been told, oh no, you don't have that on your resume, and I never did. But gosh, times have changed. Just like, I was always told you never want to put any of your social media on your resume or any links or whatever. But what I found is recruiters are going to look at your LinkedIn, your social media anyway, right? But to have a link to my LinkedIn and kind of let them know that, hey, I'm on social media, that's not necessarily a bad thing. One of the actual things that I've been seeing requested in job posting recently was have a social media presence, because that's starting to become really important. So, having a kind of link to my LinkedIn, I thought that that was okay as well.
Yeah. And I think I guess my preference would be stick to your LinkedIn page unless you have a brand that is across the board, really showcasing your expertise on many different levels, right? So if you're using your Instagram for your own personal use, and then you're using your Facebook to kind of talk about your stance on political and social issues, you may not want to share those, right? What you
Mhm.
want to share is your LinkedIn page, which should be highlighting more of your knowledge and expertise, your industry knowledge and expertise
Right,
areas, things you've accomplished in the industry, associations that you're a part of, all of those things, because your LinkedIn really is an extension of your resume and should be able to tell more of a broader story about who you are professionally that your resume sometimes just cannot do.
right,
Your resume can create, I mean, your LinkedIn creatively can do that.
right,
Um, so I think you should make sure that you have a LinkedIn page that is definitely, um, it's important to have one. And I
right.
will tell you this, okay? And this is talking from someone who was a recruiter for a long time. We will, if you apply for a job and if we find your resume and we're impressed with that and we want to be able to contact you and move to the next stage, our next step is we are going to go to your LinkedIn page and look at it and see, not in a negative way, but what else can we learn about you as a professional that we can send to the hiring manager and position you to be more attractive for them to consider you. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's important. Now, I will tell you this, if you do not have a LinkedIn page, or if we find your LinkedIn page and it is lackluster, that's that's not going to look well. It's not going to look good.
No.
No, because what recruiters now look at and say, how serious are they taking their career if they
Mhm.
do not have a LinkedIn profile?
Mhm.
And I know that may sound superficial, but it is the truth. They're going to say, how serious are you about your career that you do not have a presence on LinkedIn? When this is an opportunity for you to showcase who you are as a professional in so many different ways.
Right.
So it's not a good look if you do not have a LinkedIn page, that's set up. And it doesn't have to be robust with articles and blog posts and videos. It could just be something showcasing who you are as a professional.
Right. Right. And lastly, kind of what I've seen in research was it's okay to maybe have some color on your resume, not purple and greens and reds and the crazy stuff, unless you are in an extremely creative field such as marketing or designer or whatever it may be. But a little gray or maybe some beige or whatever may really help your resume stand out.
No, I agree. I think you if you're looking at now, if you have Microsoft Word, if you go in and put in, search and say for resumes, the resumes coming up in Microsoft Word now are so creative and colorful,
Mhm.
and it's just not just a functional resume or chronological resume anymore.
Yeah.
They're showcasing so many other different things. So do not be afraid to get creative with your resume. It's now recruiters are seeing it a lot more coming through their timelines. So, and they understand that shift is coming. People are wanting to get people to pay attention to what they are displaying in terms of their talent,
Mhm.
and that's what you're doing. You're looking at another way to get them to pay attention to what you're bringing to the table.
Right. Right. Amen.
Yep.
That's
So,
it. That's
yeah.
all I had. I learned a lot this past weekend after redoing my resume for a program I'm trying to get in. And I mean, we should all know this, but not one resume fits all. This program I was trying to get in, I had to show all of me, right? And so I had to do and put down everything that I thought was really applicable and everything that could help them think like, oh, I'm reading this in 10 seconds, but she's got this and that. I want her. So um there's not a one size fits all resume, and we should know that, and we shouldn't treat our resume as such.
Yeah, so not one resume fits all. And again, you always should have a couple of variations of resumes based on the type of role that you're wanting to apply for, because you want to make sure that those skill sets are transferable to those roles, specifically for you, for everyone who for the women who are looking to do some sort of career transition,
Mhm.
or looking to apply for a role that the next level is going to stretch them, and so you want to make sure that you are displaying that. But
Right.
yeah, I think you should have fun with it. I think you know what to do. Common sense kind of tells you how far you can go with that. But I think it's great to do. And even with and here's my thing. I always have a resume, and I love to refer a hiring manager to my LinkedIn, because you're going to get the full scope of who I really am as a professional if you go to my LinkedIn page.
Mhm.
So do not be afraid to refer them to your page for the full scope of who you are and what you bring to the table. And especially for people who are in those creative types of roles, you can showcase that in a different way. But again, every industry has a way where they can showcase that in on their LinkedIn page. You just have to just use the right tools that they offer to showcase it.
Right.
All right. I think we left in with some good gems today.
Yeah, I think so too. I think so too. Remember, we do have a nice couple of tips and tricks and a template in our resources. So feel free to start there and begin to build your next resume.
Right. And here's the thing. I know that we do have some resumes in our digital downloads. We don't have any of the creative ones, the nice, fun, colorful ones, but we can add a few of those for examples for you if you want those. We can add a couple. Right now, we kind of have the chronological, the functional, the standard ones, one for new college grad, one
Mhm.
for experienced professionals. But yeah, we can actually add a couple to give you some examples of what those may look like.
Yeah,
Hmm. But don't be afraid to use color. It's okay.
yeah, it's okay.
It's okay. Because if they pass on you on the job because of your resume, you didn't want to work there anyway. Just saying.
Good point. Good point.
All right. Any last words we want to cover, Makita, before we close out for Career Tip Tuesday?
No, I think we're good. If you guys have any questions, feel free to just send us a message.
All right. Well, you know where to find us. We hope you guys have a great day. We're both going to get back to work ourselves. I'm going to eat some lunch because I'm hungry.
Mhm.
But we hope you guys have a great Tuesday. Bye, everyone.
Bye.